Welcome to Rebecca Sounds Reveille. Hold on to your seats because today we have a dynamic guest who is a hip hop artist and a top line writer whose talent has landed him on Billboard. He's opened for Bone, Thugs in Harmony, and collaborated with industry legends like Keith Martin and Grammy nominated Kenny Smith. Raised in the San Francisco Bay Area, Jaysin Voxx has made waves with his breaking single "'Cause Every Time," which hit the Billboard Top 40, followed by none other than Hands on Me, a #1 hit on the DRT Global Independent Airplay chart. Just wait. Now signed with World Movement Records, he recently released his electrifying single, "Outta Breath." Please welcome the only Jaysin Voxx. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I am really delighted to have you on the show. I have been waiting to share with my audience all about you because you are on the move. You've been just making yourself known. You're all over social media and you have got something very special. And the only way for us to really understand that is maybe you could share with us how you got started.
The way I got started is I always feel like music picked me. So a lot of times people say, "Oh, I chose music." I don't really think of it like that. Sometimes music finds me in the shower, it finds me driving on the 405. So I think it's pretty fair to say these days that music chose me.
Mm.
And we usually would just do it because a lot of my friends were rappers. So they needed a hook man, and that's me. That's yours truly. And we always did it for the girls. So that's what's up. And so I was always the hook guy. And little by little, I had to figure out how to make stronger hooks, how to sing stuff that was more memorable because, again, we did for the girls. So that's how I got
Mhm.
started.
Do you think a lot of artists get started because of a girl involved? A lot of male artists get
Yeah.
involved because of a girl involved a girl.
I
Yes?
think so. There's nothing wrong with that being the catalyst. It's exciting when you see someone that you don't know at all, especially if they know your lyrics, which is definitely a big kick for me. But back then, even, it was just cool to turn heads with a talent that you have.
How did you discover your talent?
Well, over and over, you just hone it, right? Over time. And you start to see the kind of crowds that might gather, different people that you want to impress are actually impressed. I met a really special individual early on, Keith Martin, and he had already been on tour with Boys to Men and done a lot of stuff way before my time, and earned his stripes. And so when he was impressed and wanted to throw me in the studio, I took that as a really big thumbs up. I was letting me know that I'm doing
Mhm.
something that mattered, that he could help sculpt into something even greater.
Did you find yourself at very young, before
Yeah.
elementary school, doing some things that sort of made people take notice?
I think it's exciting to find your own style. So many people were doing covers of other people's songs. Granted, my first couple songs that I wrote, I thought were garbage. Well, actually, at the time, I probably thought they were amazing, but they just went on and on and on. They didn't really have a point. So I also learned to work on making those stronger. So I think that made me stand out because most of the people that I knew, they could maybe sing, but they couldn't do all the things that I could do. Stage performance was something, and stage presence was always a thing that was pushed by a good friend of mine up in the Bay. The Bay Area in general is just a fertile ground when it comes to that
Mm.
kind of talent, that understanding that to be a well-rounded artist is really the goal. It's not just you just do one thing, you're a one-trick pony. You can do it all. And early on, I have to be honest, I didn't really want to write. But a dude said, and I'll keep it censored here, he was like, no one's going to give a about your so except for you,
Sure.
right? And so, because I'm doing the bleeps anyway, so I hated him at the time. I thought he was a punk and maybe some other words. But now I look back on that situation, and that was the jump off point to be like, fine, if no one else is going to care about it and it's not going to get done unless I do it myself, then I'm going to be a writer as well as a singer, as well
Mhm.
as a performer, and find a way to make that work.
I think that that is really important to be able to find or even develop a skill set and then really focus on enhancing it to help you reach a dream or a goal. And
Yeah.
oftentimes we put a lot of time and attention into things that aren't going to get us where we need to go based off
Mm,
maybe something that somebody
facts.
has said. And in your case, you have taken everything and said, nothing's stopping me. I have a dream of what I would like my life to look like. And this is what I need to do to get there.
Right. You only have one life, right? But it definitely takes a lot of bravery and courage, no doubt. And I had to learn to find that too. One of the things that I get asked sometimes is what has been your key to success. And I think the biggest thing is I learned early on that it really matters who's around you. They have to be healthy individuals. They have to be giving you positive vibes only. But that doesn't always happen. And so you got to be yourself in the right headspace, in the right zone.
Hmm.
And then hopefully you attract those people to you. And you also have the grit and determination to leave those other ones behind, so to speak, to X them out, because they're probably not going to get you where you want to go.
I think you have a really good point. It's really difficult to continue to move forward and do a couple of things. Allow a inner circle that isn't healthy or helping move not only themselves but you and the relationship, whether friends or parents, it doesn't matter who it is. But
Right.
if that relationship is stagnant and you're not growing, sometimes you have to set that aside and embrace a new inner circle with people that have the same drive and the vision that you do, and that you're all rising together.
That's very true. And you touched on something that also is tricky, right? And that's friends and family, especially family. You'll find for any artists that are watching right now, the first thing you got to know is that your friends and your family, the people that are tightest to you, probably won't have the reaction that you want. My biggest fans are complete strangers. They
Mhm.
buy the merch, they know the songs. When I'm performing, they can word them back to me like mouth it almost takes you off your game. And it's a but when it came to the family, my dad was totally against this. Like, I don't want you to be an artist, get a real job, get a real career,
Mm,
right?
mhm.
So the bottom line is that if you know what your vision is, if you know what your journey is, you got to stick to that no matter what, even when family either doesn't give you the props you deserve or actually is quite negative.
I think that that's really something that the audience needs to embrace. So whether
Yeah.
you're an artist or you are in a field that is completely 360 degrees from the entertainment industry, whatever you're
Yeah.
doing, you have to be around people that support what you believe in, that are
Yeah.
going to help you to succeed. And unfortunately, though, for those of you who are listening, you all have been placed at a time where someone in your life has not been supportive of what you wanted to do, whether it's furthering your education, delaying your education, taking on a certain job, having a group of friends, doesn't matter. The most important thing is to take away from the people who want, take away their advice, heed the direction that they give you if they're helping you move to achieve your goals. If they're
Yes.
telling you to stay away from someone or something that isn't going to help you reach that, I think the first part of that sound coming into our brain is a defensive mechanism. But if we really start to embrace someone who's been successful and can see from the outside in that something that I'm doing may
Mhm.
not be healthy for what my goals are, and they're sharing that with me, I need to listen to that. And that's
Yes,
not
absolutely.
easy to do.
No, and it's also it's important to note that I'm not saying you be mean to those family members. You just don't give a lot of what they're saying much credit. It's just a grain of salt. And it's actually good practice for the real world because the real world is not that friendly. There's so many stories of they told Stevie Wonder he'd never be a big deal. They
Mhm.
laughed at Dave Matthews, and Dave Matthews had so much merch going on that he actually ended up getting a pretty insane deal with Island Def Jam because they had to get him one way or another. Sometimes that's a buying point. If you have that kind of
Sure.
confidence and you don't really need them that much, then sometimes that's a buying point. That's what makes you bankable.
That is true. And I think what is really important also is that whatever foundation that we are making into something concrete for our lives, it should be something that is going to take us into a multitude of areas because we don't know sometimes if the path is going to detour us. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have not the right route to go, but there could be something on that route that gives a little hiccup and we have to take a little bit of break. But if our skill set and the things that we are developing in our lives to help us reach our goal, those are going to be things that really allow us to achieve a lot no matter what direction life takes us on. So
It's a
I like
skill
what you're
set.
saying.
I believe, and what you're saying to add to that, that's a skill set you can apply to any industry, not just entertainment. That confidence is key. It'll make you feel like a happier, more accomplished individual, and it also help you find the right friends, the right, as you described, your inner circle. You'll have the right inner circle instead of maybe one that's problematic. The moment you can figure out who you are and what it is you want to accomplish in this life, I think that inner circle starts to crystallize a lot better.
I absolutely do too. They say that you should be able to count your inner circle on one hand. And those are your
Good.
trusted, most confidant people that you can rely on that's going to give you
Right.
accurate information, that isn't going to steer you in a direction that is going to have the house of cards crash down. It's
Hmm.
going to take you places. And oftentimes, I think you'll hear people say very loosely, "This is my friend," or they'll tell someone, "I love you," but there really isn't a relationship there. And those
Right.
things are important because there's varying degrees of all of that. I'm not saying that someone can't love someone, but I think it's really important to realize the strength, the root of these individuals that are your inner circle because they're not an acquaintance. They're not a friend that's like a friend that was close a long time ago, but
Hmm.
isn't now. Those are still sort of a friend. But
Hmm.
it takes on another meaning about the importance of these people that surround you.
Very true. I also find that as you go through life and you do start to zero in on that vision of who you are, maybe how you want to look, how you want to be presented, whatever it is, what do you want to be into, that also will make some of those friendships change. And again, you don't have to be mean about it, but you have to be honest about it, right?
Yeah.
Because I've got some friends right now that I don't think they're going to understand the vision. I don't think we're going to butt heads.
Mhm.
So we check in with each other, but they're not someone I come to for advice and I don't rely on them for really much.
What do you think would be a very strong piece of advice that you could share with the audience about really anything that you have found that has been beneficial to helping your career?
Well, I touched on it earlier that the people around you really matter. You can have the greatest song in the world. You can have, I don't know, the best photo shoot you ever did. You could even know Max Martin, which is a big deal, and maybe even have the money to pay him. But it doesn't really matter if the people around you are not healthy, if they don't have their own vision of who they are, or at least support yours. So
Mhm.
I would say the most important thing is check who your team is. So your team is very important. Right now, my team with World Movement Records is got a lot of good things going on, and I can always tell that they have my best interest in mind. And that's something that you check in with every day. And I think they do it back and forth, right? They say a good interview is one where you interview them and they interview you. So it's not just the person on that side of the desk, it's also you saying, do I really want to work for this person, right?
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, it's your life, and we need to really care about the time we're spending. We can't get the time back.
No.
You can't get it back. So, with that said, really care about who's around you. And then that kind of goes to another thing that I believe in strongly, and this is somewhat new, so it really applies to our time right now in the world. Influencers, it's tricky, right? Because they're influencing, but the goal shouldn't be to be them. Because a lot of times this stuff is staged. And I'm speaking to you, the viewer, right now. Just let this is 100 facts. They're not always doing exactly what you see. It's staged or it might even be fake. Regardless, rather than throwing anyone under the bus, just be you. If that influencer inspires you to do something to be the best you can be, that's a good thing. That's
That's
healthy.
right.
And that should be all our goal is be the best person you can be.
I really love that. And piggybacking off of that, I really think authenticity is very important because
Word.
if we were all copycatting each other, you're not setting yourself apart. You're just being someone else. And people can see right through that. They will look and they'll say, that person is trying to be so and so. People can tell when there's ingenuous intentions behind something, even when someone thinks that they're really able to pull that off. So you were talking about World Movement Records, and I want to go there for a second because you just signed with them.
Yes, I did.
And you have an incredible single that released not that long ago. Can you tell me how did you come to create? And I don't want to give out the name. I want to let you introduce
Oh,
yourself.
and single you're talking about just dropped, and it's called Outta Breath. And I'm very excited about it because the whole plan was to display raw emotion, something that's unharnessed, but make it playful. My goal always, my mission statement is to make music that makes you feel good, right? Make music matter again. It should be an escape. In fact, Rebecca, if I can go a little deeper, what really inspired me in the last couple of years is I was on Reddit and I was checking out different threads. And this one guy said he had come home that day and it was from a long week. So it must have been a Friday. And he really just had a horrible week. And he wanted to tune into music to take him away, to give him a happy escape. And he couldn't count on it. Nothing out there could make him feel better about his current situation. So I write
Mhm.
music for you. That's what I do. I write music so that you can have that escape. Let's have a fun escape. Let's realize how exciting it is to be alive in this crazy technology world that we have right now, and just how blessed it is to have woke up today. Our blessings are many, and I want music to be positive again. And that's my mission statement.
Yes, I think it's really important. I think what you're saying just really solidifies how important music is and allows people to take them to a different area. And so
Right.
when you're producing fun, healthy music, people get inspired by that and they want to go do things. And it really is very motivating.
Yes.
The first time I heard your song, it took me forever before I started realizing that I was still singing it as I was going to play.
Yes.
And
Right.
so that's really something
Yes. I will
because
haunt your dreams.
it's funny that you say that because there are sounds, our senses take us to places. They will
Right.
evoke a memory and there's an attachment with that memory to a person, a place, an object, whatever it is. And so music is really important. If you can escape through music and tie it
Yeah.
to something that's really healthy, you're going to have an opportunity to have really you can stop at any moment and reflect, have these really good memories. For example, I recently came across this reel that I think it was, I don't know, 7 minutes or something. And it was all sounds from my childhood. So it had some music on there. It
Right.
had it had the machines that people in my era were used to using all the time, certain video game things, the dial on a TV set or
Hmm.
whatever, just different things. And there was music too. And as this reel was going through, I was able to go back to a place that I had not been to in a long time. And it really brought me a lot of joy. And I think that that's what it sounds to me like you're doing.
That is the vision. That is what I hope to bring to the music landscape. My personal experience has been like one of my favorites is Ryan Tedder of One Republic. Just something about the way he writes and the way that band is constructed that it always makes me feel good. It always makes me feel like it's honest and genuine. I do love that word. Or like Bruno Mars, it's an upbeat thing. It's something to feel good. And I feel like it's missing. I could be wrong, but I think we need to have a lot more fun. We live in a great time where you can do anything you want. So why not celebrate that? And if I can help you celebrate that, then turn on some Jaysin Voxx.
I do think we need to celebrate it. And when I was younger, you would have a video and everybody was learning that move. And you might, let's just go with Michael Jackson. Everybody knew the steps and they were, when the song came on, they would emulate what they saw in the video, the accompanying video. And that was fun. And people are still doing it. These
Yeah.
are memorable. And I know that you do a lot of this too. And you're really involved in really reaching people through social media, which I think is the fact that you're making yourself available to your fan base is huge.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. It's just fun to connect. Now more than ever, you can connect with anyone around the world. And I believe I
Mhm.
travel a lot because that's where I get a lot of my inspiration. I performed in Puerto Rico, I performed in Germany, I performed in the Philippines. And every time is a different experience, right? And you get this different vibe because they're a completely different audience. And I think that's what's so special right now. Even if you're sitting at your laptop and you're connecting around the world, you're still in touch with people that we couldn't have accessed, I don't know, 40, 50 years ago.
Oh,
And
that
it's
is so true.
and it gives me inspiration. There's a song that I did on my album Departure, which is called Destination Girl. And you'll see if you listen to that, it's mostly Indian, it's Bollywood. And but it was so fun to do. And it is so out of the box. And sometimes those are the best songs to do when they're out of the box. You know, with Outta Breath, I wanted to keep this really heavy drum beat going because I don't hear a lot of that. And I love percussion. I don't know if it's something I grew up with. My mom always liked percussion, so maybe I got it from her. And so that's a special thing. But I just want to make people move.
So are you a Sheila E. fan? or
Well, I know who she is,
Escovedo?
and I know a little bit about her, but I also know Prince a lot better.
Okay.
So I would say that stuff I heard by her is great.
Her and Pete, her father, Pete Escovedo, both great percussionists, and
She
so
plays live. Well, the last time I saw her, she played live, right? So to your point, but
very cool. Oh, you talked about being able to travel the world and go on these different stages. When you're on the road like that, do you face any challenges at being able to perform?
I'm always ready to perform. I love being on the
Okay.
stage. I love sharing it. I guess the only challenges you run into is sometimes the equipment's not the same. You just never know. Sometimes people are in different time. PT, which is known as Filipino time, means that things are always going to start late. Anyone who's Filipino out there is going to know that I'm telling facts here. So, but that's okay with me. That means a little more time for sound check. So we're good.
Well, I think a lot of countries outside of the US tend to be a little bit more relaxed when it comes to
Yeah.
time. They'll take a break throughout the day or a siesta or things like that. And we're definitely not like that. Now, there are some other countries that are very rigid when it comes to
Mhm.
time, and they put their children in school from very early in the morning till very late in the afternoon, evening, because they believe that education is crucial to everything that they do. So, culture wise, I think that that's neat. But I like to hear that you're ready to perform and that you can overcome any of the challenges. I
Yeah.
can't imagine what it's like to be on the road and thinking about time and travel and all of the things that it take you to get to that stage and to be completely present in the moment once you're there. Boom, you're making
I
it
think it
happen.
comes from you always, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, is something I think Mac 10 said it, but it's a barrier artist that said that. And I've always kept that inside. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So it's practice. It's just kind of knowing what you need to do when that time comes. And so that's definitely part of it. But it's also just the fact that the definition of courage, right, is the idea that the fear, and yet you still do it anyway. You acknowledge the fear, and yet you still proceed. So I think that's all. You just got to find that inner courage to say, this is a different stage. This is a different set of people. It could bomb horribly, but you know what? I'm doing what I love doing. This is what I was meant to do. So it doesn't matter if it bombs. I'm going to have a good time.
I think it's also really beautiful that you've shared with the audience about courage, because that is one of the most often overlooked topics
Mhm.
that we hear about. We're mostly talking about things that keep people in an unhealthy state of mind and an emotional state of mind. And
Yeah.
when you'll hear people talk about a few little things, or go read this meme or poster that talks about adversity and how to overcome it, but really being able to define, you just shared, define what this is and how you can get there. That's half of the battle, because at
Mhm.
least knowing this is what this means, this is what I need, how it's going to take me to move beyond fear. If I'm courage this way, you'll hear people do things like be like a lion. A lion has courage. Well, what does that mean? But
Right.
you just clarified. You were very clear about how that is. And I think that that's something for the audience to embrace. I also think it's really important that the audience has an opportunity to connect with you on social media. So, what would be the social media forums, platforms that you would really like for your fans and for those that are wanting to get to know you more? Where would they go?
Definitely find me on TikTok. I'm a noob there, so it's probably a fun time to find me because I'm still getting my footing. But I've been having a lot of fun and also reading other people's and watching other people's TikToks to, especially all these people talk about this is how you go viral. That's my new obsession. That's my new scroll. So, but you can find me at TikTok. It's Jaysin Voxx 7. Someone else took Jaysin Voxx. I really don't know if it was me anyway. But and then you can find Jaysin Voxx on everything else. You can find me on IG, YouTube, Facebook, and then on Twitter, if you want to know where my head is at, Twitter's a lot of fun. If you need a laugh, check out my Twitter. I share one of my favorites from YouTube, which is Rick Beato, or I think it's Beato. But check him out. The dude is encyclopedia of music knowledge. I'm even learning a lot just watching his stuff. And so that's why I share it on Twitter to share it with you.
So you have an imposter, but I know how the audience and those who want to get to know you can move beyond that. They can
Yeah.
go to you. You also have a private fan group.
Yes, I do. The
And so if they
Voxers.
wanted to
So
learn more about that, where do they go?
they need to go to Facebook and say, hey, I want to be a Voxer and I'll add you. It is a private group, like Rebecca mentioned. So just raise your hand, let me know you want to be down, and we'll put you in the group.
I absolutely love it. Thank you, Jason, so much for being here. I'm really excited about your recent release, Out of Breath. I'm
Yeah.
excited about, and I want to congratulate you on your signing with World Movement Records. This is incredible. I see great things for you, and I appreciate your time with us today.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. It was an honor to be on your program. I'm so excited for the future. This year is going to be incredible, so stay tuned to what I'm doing.
Awesome. And I want to thank all of you for tuning into another episode of Rebecca Sounds Reveille, where we try to make sure that we provide you with tips, tools, and resources to make your life healthier and better, all while we're having a great time getting to know one another. Thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to share this with your friends, family, everybody you know on social media, and every that you don't. Thanks for tuning in.